What's that movie that a holiday hit? Don't ask Alenka, she'll say I haven't seen it.
Welcome to the Haven't Seen It podcast Christmas live stream. I'm Alenka Zach.
And I'm Will Innes, co-host and drink maker.
I don't particularly understand why you always do that.
Why do I always say ho ho ho?
No, why you always do something like that for your intro.
Like something weird and different?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I like consistency.
Yeah, I know you do, but I like to change things up, you know, make it different, make it cool and unique, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Ryan's here today.
If you didn't see him, Ryan is right beside us. Here he is.
I am Ryan. I'm happy to be here for a
Third time. For some reason, we decided he could come back after the chaos that was. And you guys, listening back to it, it is, again, my favorite episode. Casino Royale.
Your favorite 2 episodes.
It's
a two-parter.
Casino Royale, which Ryan was on with Zach Parsons.
What makes it your favorite?
Because listening back, it is one of the most enjoyable episodes, I think. There was a lot of funnies, a lot of things. Zach was so drunk that he was incoherent many times.
Yeah.
And I think just the fact that I know Zach and I can visualize him makes it all the more funny. But I'm being genuine. And I think I've said this before. In that moment while we were filming, I was extremely aggravated.
It's true.
I scolded them.
Yeah. They got off topic a lot.
Yeah.
We were having a great time.
Right.
It went long. I listened back to it recently, and there was a lot of over talking.
Yeah.
In the moment, it felt great as the guest, but as a listener later, I understand how maybe it could have sounded hectic and unlistenable. And I think having us in the same room, that last one was a Zoom record kind of situation. Pandemic was at its height, maybe. Tensions were at their height, but now we're in person, and it's the holiday season. We're on a comfy couch, and Zach isn't here, so it's going to be great.
So it'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So speaking of Zach.
Right. He's kind of here.
Yeah,
Again.
he's sort of here. Isn't that right, Zach? You're sort of here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. That's Zach.
No, that's Zach. Real time. Absolutely. Here in this studio.
He's totally here.
Yeah. So
always and forever.
Yeah. So
do we have to do the thing where since this will be a podcast ultimately, right? So we have to be like, for the listening audience, Will just pulled up a clip of Zach that he recorded at an earlier date that was of him sitting in his bedroom.
Well,
saying, yeah.
If you're listening and not watching, you better get on that watching level to see all those unique clips of Zach in a bright yellow room.
The marketing that is happening right now.
Yeah, it's happening now during the live stream for some reason. But yeah.
Well, what are we talking about today, Ryan?
Well, you know, we're it's the holiday season.
Just been a single straightforward answer. Sorry? Yeah.
It's the holiday season, and so I picked a holiday movie, and it was actually one that I hadn't seen before yesterday.
Oh, okay.
But my lovely girlfriend Priscilla and I had made a big list of holiday movies that we wanted to watch before the end of the year, and Miracle on 34th Street was on that list. And it was also on your list on haven't seen it podcast.com, which is what's the website? I'm not sure what the URL is, but if you Google haven't seen it podcast, I'm sure you'll find it. There's a nice list of the movies that Alenka hasn't seen, and Miracle on 34th Street was on there. So I grabbed it, watched it yesterday with my loved one, and excited to chat about it with you guys here today.
Great.
Yeah, you really know how to take 4 words and make them 40.
Yeah.
That's why you're a great writer.
Right.
You are.
Stay tuned for more of that.
More of that.
Yeah, Miracle on 34th Street. 34th Street. Great movie. Great classic. Watching it back, I don't know. It's one of those movies where I don't have too much to complain about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haha. We shall see.
So your famous segment, Will Complains will be
very famous.
next
Very famous. Yeah.
from today's episode.
When was the first time you watched the movie? Ever?
It was
Well,
yesterday,
I
was
just
it
had
not?
said
He just
earlier
said
that
that.
You did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just said he has not seen it until
it's fine.
I don't listen to our guests.
You
really.
know, Will's for the listening audience. Will's over there running the boards. He's doing all the tech here, so he's got a million things going on in his head.
Sure.
Yeah, I know.
So if he doesn't hear the odd,
So yesterday
things-
was the first time, really.
Yes.
For real.
But like it's such a classic.
Yeah, well, people
Wait, so you picked this movie
don't watch
before you?
movies sometimes,
Okay.
whether it's classic or not.
I picked it because I've always been aware of it,
Yeah.
have never watched it, and before I was even invited to be on this episode, had made the decision to watch it this year.
Mhm.
And so I thought, what better time and what
guess
better
so.
reason?
I hope you're ready to talk about it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm interested. What? Like, I get it. Like, it's Miracle on 34th Street. Why do people like? Why was this on your Christmas list this year?
Well, I'm a subscriber to Disney Plus, and they've got a great catalog of movies up there. And Disney owns so many different production companies now that there's a positively incredible wealth of films available on their platform, Disney Plus. So just browsing through there, add it to my list, add it to the watch list, add it to the
Right.
list, and lo and behold, Miracle on 34th Street. How have I not watched this before? So got to add it to the list, and
Now
here we are.
let's be absolute certain you watched the 1940. What is it? 8 Miracle
There's
on
other
34th
ones?
Street.
I'm so glad you asked. I was going to clarify this, and then I thought it would be funner to reveal on air whether or not we had watched the
Why
same
are you
version.
doing this?
What?
While you're talking, this arm's like going crazy.
Oh,
it's
I,
like rubbing against me. It's stressing me
I'm
out.
sorry. I'm wearing a very tight white blazer that I got for an 80s themed party 4 years ago at a Value Village. And it's the most festive looking thing that I had in my closet. So I put it on, and it is incredibly small, and I cannot move my body in a regular way. So I'm going to be doing a chicken wing here for most of the night. I'm sorry.
Okay, great.
Okay, which one did you watch?
yeah, yeah.
I'm happy to say that I have watched the 1994 version.
Oh my god!
Great. I'm so glad this happened.
Oh no!
This is your bit, wasn't it? This
Isn't even the bit. We haven't got to the bit yet. The bit hasn't even happened. No.
Are you lying?
I watched it. No, we didn't clarify.
We did not clarify.
But the thing is, it's a remake, so I thought it would be interesting. So, Will, you did watch recently the 40s version?
Yes, it's actually the only one I've watched. I have not seen. the
Great.
remake.
So I thought it would be really cool. I had a feeling this would happen, and I thought it'd be really cool if we could
You hijacked this podcast again.
listen. I love you guys, but there was some clarity that was lacking in the communications and the leadings up to this podcast.
Sure.
All right.
And this is a result of it, but I think it'll be very cool to have kind of a contrast.
Yeah.
We'll each take turns.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
I read the plots of both as they're explained on wikipedia.org, and
I'm sure that they're very similar.
they're very similar, but it actually represents the different times they were made, in which they were made.
Okay.
And we could even discuss if it was remade today, how it might differ, because I think it's very interesting.
All right.
Great.
This is going to be a first for the Haven't Seen It podcast.
I think it's great. I also wanted to add that the child lead role, the little girl in the film, played by Natalie Wood, I believe, in the 40s version, played by Mara Wilson, who's one of our great child actors of the 90s, was also in Mrs. Doubtfire, Matilda, the titular Matilda.
Okay.
So even if you told me to watch the 40s one, I'm such a fan of Mara Wilson's work, that I would have probably watched the 90s one anyway, just to see her on screen again.
Okay. Fair. I guess.
All right.
Great.
Sounds good. Alenka,
Yeah.
what do you think this movie is about?
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So Miracle.
Okay, wait. What do you think this movie is about? 40s version and 90s version.
Great.
Give
I
us
can't
two quick
imagine that they
fire.
could be super different. Okay. 40s. Okay. Miracle on 34th Street. So it takes place in New York. So there's a little girl. Okay. So young lady moves to New York City. She's a child and she is like poor, obviously, because she just moved to New York City. And her family's poor and they are hustling on the streets. they're selling sandwiches. And so little girl's going around to every business. She's like, please, sir, would you like to buy a sandwich? And everybody's like, no, because we are rich people from New York and we don't have time for your peasant sandwiches. And then turns out she finds this dog, and the dog is magical. It teaches her how to make better sandwiches. And this happens in both times, except she approaches delis and she's trying to make it a franchise, maybe. Her sandwich. And I don't fucking know what this movie is about, but I'm gonna say like they get into some money and they're fine. And they live on 34th Street, so it's very busy.
Making sandwiches.
Yeah.
Did you say any Christmas related things in that description? I can't remember.
No, I didn't.
Okay,
actually.
it's
I
a
forgot
Christmas
it was
film.
A Christmas movie. So Santa comes.
It's snowing
also.
during it.
Santa is there.
Santa's
in
there.
the background.
Yeah.
Waiting for his sandwich.
Yeah, I feel like Santa's the guy like collecting the money with the bell on the
Oh,
street.
and it was real
the whole time. Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And he was overlooking to make sure that Matilda had sandwiches and money for the Christmas
Great.
time.
Yeah. That.
I think there's from rags to riches in this.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Terminal illness.
I made some notes on the contrary. Yeah, you're quite off. Yeah, no.
Okay.
I'm gonna give that a
The movie's
A
more
0.
riches to a little bit more riches.
yeah to different types
Oh.
of
Yeah,
different
different types of riches.
That's
yeah.
lame.
which is
I'm less invested already.
which is why I think a modern version would be quite different, given the real estate market.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah. And maybe sandwiches would be involved in a 2021
In a
version.
2021 version.
Yeah.
Oh
I
god,
would make
it
sure
would
of
be vegan
Yeah.
food, or probably right.
Yeah, gluten
Yeah, you can
free.
have a vegan sandwich, Ryan.
Gluten
You ever had an LT before?
A what?
An
Oh, a
LT.
lettuce and tomato. Is that what that is?
Yeah. And
Okay.
jackfruit bacon.
So it's a JLT.
Can I launch into my bit now?
Fine.
Which bit is your bit?
I don't know. Will I get it though yet?
You'll get it. Oh no, I guess. The next part is usually how does this start, right?
Well, the next part is actually what
The
we're
drinks.
drinking, yeah.
Cool. I won't try to take hold. You guys lead the way.
You've already taken over, but
Mhm.
that's okay.
That's right.
What we're drinking today, I'm calling it Krazy Kris Kringle.
So Santa is in this movie. I got that right.
You did get it right. Well, you didn't get it right the first time.
Ye-
but it was a little
yeah.
Tail end.
Okay.
Krazy Kris Kringle. What you want to get? You want to get some brandy. You want to get some triple sec. Squeeze some lemon juice in there. Top that with orange juice and a little orange peel. And while you're drinking, you're gonna chew on some of this here bubble gum.
Bubblegum. I'm fascinated by this.
Well,
I'm very
this is
excited.
definitely the 40s movie reference. But I
Is this
don't know if this
prevalent
is in
in
the
the-
90s version.
This is the first hint that Will and I watched separate films, because he was like,
Can I
"Hey,
take two,
I've got the drink, and you can also chew some bubble gum." And I was like, "Cool." But in my head, I was like, I have no idea why that's relevant. There's no bubble gum mentioned in the
Really?
90s version. I don't know why we're eating bubble gum. Is this going to be good for audio purposes?
Yeah.
Chewing? I'm
Yeah.
going
This
to
sounds
decline
good,
the
right?
gum for now.
Are you serious?
Is it? Do you want me to chew gum into the microphone?
Yes.
The whole time?
Yeah.
Okay.
This
You
is
can do-
what this is.
This is what the people want.
I mean, you can pull the microphone away.
This is gonna be ASMR for a second.
And then when you're talking, you can just talk. You know,
No, you can't advertise that.
we can't advertise that. Get that out of here. It's pure bubble gum.
Okay,
Anyway,
that's
you're gonna
not-
chew some gum while you drink this. So
Aspartame
Yeah, it makes
see what
free.
this
sense.
tastes like.
Why is this?
Well, there's some couple portions in the 40s version where little
It
kids
burns more.
chewing some bubble gum, and then she chews bubble gum with another character in the movie, and they blow bubbles. And I thought it'd be a little cute reference that only I get now.
Okay.
Now that
I was
I
hoping-
only get it.
Yeah, I don't like this. I was hoping that it was like a character quirk of someone
It kind of is. There's
Well,
a
that drinks-
very specific scene
that
with
drinks
bubble
and
gum.
chews bubblegum, not just chews on
Oh,
bubblegum.
that drinks alcohol and chews. No, that's not a specific thing. But you know,
And so,
Really?
where does the rest of the drink tie in with the film?
not really anything specific.
Cool.
I'm gonna pass on chewing this. We'll do that.
You're gonna stick it to. Okay, great.
Yep.
But no, the drink itself is not really referential. It's more like a holiday kind of orange drink. Orange brandy is kind of an old alcohol brandy.
Terry's chocolate orange, a Christmas chocolate.
Yeah,
staple.
I should have used a Terry's chocolate orange.
Well, that would have been good as a little garnish. Missed opportunity.
It's all right.
The bubble gum's the garnish that you're chewing on.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is.
Exactly.
The one that I stuck to my glass so that I didn't have to chew on it.
It is a delicious drink. Thank you.
Okay, well, Ryan, do you want to do your bit, or do you want to tell us how this movie starts? Or how does your movie start?
Sure. I think to lead...
Comments.
Oh, we have comments coming in?
We do.
Happy
ATEX.
holidays!
Oh, we have comments.
ATEX is back, baby.
ATEX.
I know who you are now.
We know who you are.
You didn't know who ATEX was in the last record?
And then we looked it up.
He's here for us actually chewing the bubble gum, so
glad to see you back.
he knew. And our old friend John Sconza, he's wishing us a happy holidays.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for watching,
Thank you.
John.
Past guest.
All right, past guest.
Past
So,
guest.
okay, Ryan, how does Miracles?
Sorry.
These comments are great. Get on the
Get on the
get in the comments,
train.
folks. Get on Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
So
So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna do a time check here. What I'm gonna do is give an overview of the film from my perspective, the 90s version, and then I'm gonna launch into my bit. The bit is gonna go throughout the show.
Cool.
But I'm gonna set it up and here's the context. So
Great.
Bits are usually best when you don't have to explain them.
Yeah.
So the movie is about Santa Claus, a man who believes himself to be Santa Claus, and he gets hired by a large department store to be their department store Santa.
Oh, wow.
This department store is in rivalry with another department store who is evil. It's an evil department store. The other one's good. And the evil department store tries to sabotage Santa so that the good department store doesn't make as much money from holiday sales,
Right.
I guess, because the quality of your Santa in your store is directly
Determines
correlated
sales.
with your sales.
Exactly.
It is.
It's a
actually.
one-to-one.
No, it is.
So
Well, I will say the 40s movie definitely makes that argument as well.
great.
Great.
So to launch into my bit that I've prepared, the real reason that I picked this movie, Miracle on 34th Street, now that you know what the film is basically about, is that I actually was recently hired to be
No, you were
Santa
not.
Claus
No, you were not.
for a local retailer
No, you weren't.
that everybody loves, and say it with me, Shoppers Drug Mart.
No,
So
you were
everybody
not.
loves going to Shoppers, scanning their PC Optimum card, getting those bonus points with
you
every purchase.
serious?
And the holiday times are here, and what better time to go pick up all your holiday needs from Shoppers Drug Mart. And I'm Santa Claus from Shoppers, and I'm just here to say I actually have
Why do you think serious?
been provided with some ad copy from the Shoppers Corporation, actually owned by Loblaws. It's all kind of one thing.
Is
Oh,
this
really?
a joke, Ryan?
No, it's not a joke. Here we go. They want me to do a voice. I'm going to do my best. This is Santa Claus saying, Happy Holidays from Shoppers Drug Mart. Remember to treat others with kindness, and don't forget, spend $75 or more on almost anything in store before December 22nd and receive 20,000 bonus Optimum points. Ho, ho, ho. So thank you to...
You said the inflection of ho, ho, ho wrong. Ho, ho, ho.
Is that what I did? I'm sorry. I'm working on it, but my buddies at Shoppers know that this is kind of a dry run for me here. So
Holy smokes.
learning as we go. But again, thanks so much to the folks at Shoppers Drug Mart for taking me on as their department store Santa, and gonna have a great holiday season getting those bonus Optimum points.
Oh my
So
God. That was absurd.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see the future of Ryan Shoppers Santa.
I want to know which Shoppers, so I.
Is there a specific Shoppers you were doing this at?
well, the one at Yonge and Carlton is the nearest one to me.
Yeah.
So I usually hang around there and just kind of walk the aisles, kind of pointing out those,
With
the
your
little
white blazer and your Santa hat.
Yeah, well, yeah, the blazer's getting tight. But they have the little cards that say like optimum bonus for the specific products, which the bonus is applied to for that week. So I go around kind of pointing them out. Oh. So it's been going great so far.
That's
And,
great.
little extra scratch for the Rye Man.
Yep.
Can't complain about that.
No, cannot.
Oh my god.
All right. So,
This is a part of you I did not expect.
so how does the 1994
4
version start actually?
It starts with an old man and his grandson standing on a street corner, and this Santa-looking fellow stands beside them, waiting for the light to change. And the little boy looks up and he says, "Ask him, ask him." He's telling his grampy to ask this man if he's Santa Claus, and they have a little laugh, and then the Santa-looking man leans down and he says, "I am." And so we're launched into the story where we have actual Santa Claus walking the streets of New York City.
Okay.
That's sort of how the 40s starts.
Please.
The 40s version starts. How you don't like it, Alenka, as we learned in our mid-month movie review,
No.
is that
Exposition
it's
over
a long
picture.
shot of a man's back, like walking through the streets of New York with the credits rolling behind him.
Okay.
And then he leans into a shop window where the guy is trying to put together this little like reindeer display of like mini display of like Santa of the North Pole and reindeer. And he knocks on the window with his cane, and this man has a nice big white beard. And he's like, no, you're not doing it right. No, they're not in the right order. No. Blitzen is usually on my right, you see. And he's acting like he is Santa Claus. And he's telling the storekeep that he's wrong.
Right.
The storekeep is just like, this guy's fucking nuts.
Sure.
And that's the beginning of the movie. We sort of walk, and then he's entering what is the setup for the Macys Santa Claus Parade.
Why
in
would
New
I
York
hate
City.
that intro? Sorry.
Because it's a very long shot of just a dude walking for quite a while.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
More longer than you would like, I would think.
Probably.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what I was going to say. In your movie, is it just nameless corporations?
You know what? It is called Coles in the 90s version. And
Okay.
checking the IMDb trivia earlier today, I saw that they did approach Macys about having them on board again, but Macys declined, so they came up with a fictional
All right.
Coles.
On the 40s, the two businesses that are competing are Macys, Real Corporation, and Gimbel's Real Corporation.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder why Macy's declined this time around. Because you would think, right?
Probably because of the message of the movie,
Right.
which we'll get into.
Yeah.
Or I'll get into my message. I don't know about the 90s.
Yeah, it was probably a good move for them overall.
Okay.
Well, what's next on your plate?
Well, yeah, we all know the Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade. So
Right.
in the 90s
Sorry,
version.
Thanksgiving Day Parade, not the Santa Claus Parade. But the Santa Claus is in the parade. But
Yeah, we said
right.
Thanksgiving Day.
no, I said Santa Claus Parade.
Oh, that's what the Toronto one's called, though, right? Is that one Santa Claus
That's
Parade?
the Santa Claus Parade's
So,
Toronto. That's why
there's so many parades
it's
out there.
in my mind.
But
That's
the
So many
New York
parades.
Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which features Santa Claus at the end,
Okay.
we all know and love.
boy.
It is the Coles Parade, and so one of our main characters, played by Elizabeth Perkins, comes in. She's I forget, she had a very specific title that was like creative
Head of
something.
event planning.
She was organizing the parade and was responsible for the Santa, and lo and behold, the Santa she hired is a drunk, and he
Darn.
lets his butt crack show to the children, and they scream. And the Santa that we met at the beginning comes along, and she looks at him and says, "You look exactly like Santa would look, and you're not drunk." And so I've got the parade starting in 30 seconds. We need a Santa. You're a Santa, please. And he agrees. He replaces the drunk fellow. Goes on the parade. Is a hit. Everybody loves him. Everybody's buying Coles stocks. The Coles stocks.
Oh, is it like
rises.
a visual coal stock rise?
They don't show
because
it,
of
but
Santa
I
Claus?
think it was on the cutting room floor because, yeah.
Wait, well, 40s version, exact same thing, except instead of our main character, the main woman, is the main woman's name Doris Walker?
It is, but I believe she's referred to as Dory,
Okay.
in the new
Okay.
one.
Doris
Just put a little
Walker,
modern twist.
Sure.
played by Maureen O'Hara in the 40s version. She's, again, is the organizer, is a higher up kind of person at Macys, which is like in the late 40s. We have this like strong independent woman who's single with a daughter, which, I mean, I guess was kind of common in movies back then too. That always seemed to be a thing, but she has this higher up position at Macys. She's running the parade, but our Santa Claus here sees the drunk Santa and scolds him. Also, he's showing him how to properly whip the reindeer.
I did make a note of this. The 90s version also includes like whip tutorials.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if that's really like a big part of Santa's deal.
Right.
Is like him whipping his reindeer.
Well, I don't know if
must be.
like that's all just the noise. It's just the crack to get the fear of Santa Claus in them.
Right.
Right.
Fly.
Yeah, they fly fueled by Santa's fear that he instills in their hearts. Am I chicken winging again? Sorry. It's really tight. Yeah, there was whip lessons. I was confused by the whip.
Yeah.
That
same in the 40s. It's like, they're just gonna whip these things. But he really chastises this drunk, and then he goes over to Doris and is just like that man is drunk. Like I've never been so disgusted in my life. And then same thing. It's like, well, you look a lot like. Have you had any experience? And he's like, oh well, a little bit.
Right. Because he is.
And yeah,
because he's
a huge
Santa.
hit to, the parade happens.
Parade.
But in the 40s, I'll go next now, Ryan. So in the 40s version, what happens is we move to Doris's apartment. She has this nice like 10th floor, well, probably like 8th floor, doesn't matter. 8th floor apartment.
Let's nail this down.
There's a great view of the parade. And it's actually not her apartment, it's her neighbor, Mr. Gailey's apartment. Her daughter is in her neighbor's apartment watching. It's because it has a great view of the parade. Mr. Gailey's a bachelor who lives across the hall. And they have a little bit of a romance. They're about to. He's very flirtatious, but we find out his daughter, or her daughter, Susan, doesn't believe in Santa, is hyper realistic. Her mom is basically like, I don't teach my children fantasies and imaginations. We shouldn't fill their heads full of things. We should be realistic. So, the little girl played by, her name's Susan Walker, played by Natalie Wood, is like super.
The reality of life hits you so hard and so fast that if you can't enjoy your childhood with imagination and fantasy, that is abuse.
Totally agree.
It kind of is with it. Like this little girl is so good at playing like, well, that's ridiculous. That doesn't exist.
Right.
No, my friends are acting like animals, and I said, I am not an animal. I am a human being.
Oh God.
Yeah,
garbage.
she's like the worst at parties. But.
Garbage.
Yeah.
The 90s version is pretty much the same, although the thing that really was hard to understand was what the dynamic was between the single mother and the neighbor man, because in the 90s version we see them and Linka just spilled quite a lot on the floor. We see that has gum in it. Do you want to? Okay.
Keep going, Ryan.
We see that the young lady played by Mara Wilson, the great Mara Wilson, is already over at this man's apartment watching the parade. So we're thinking surely that this is her mother's boyfriend or something like that. They have a close relationship. The whole dynamic between them is very like, he's clearly in love with her, but then she maybe hates him or something. It's really unclear. Maybe it seems like they maybe just had a big fight right before the movie started, and like he's already moved on, and she's not sure.
Is it really played up like she's a little more annoyed at him? Because in this movie, it's not like that at all. Really, it's just like, oh, he's such a nice man, but I am a strong woman. I'm not interested in a relationship right now.
No, it's like when in the presence of her daughter, she's like, because her daughter really wants a father. Her father's disappeared. So she's like, you should be together with this nice man across the hall. And she kind of plays along for the sake of her daughter. But when her and this man are just alone, it's just like, she's got a lot going on. It's clearly like not she's not in the right place in her life for this type of relationship, but he just keeps on pining. So it seems complex.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the 40s one, it's just like, he's just like, oh, I've always wanted to meet the mother of the daughter or whatever. And then he asks, the daughter asks the mother, like, because it's Thanksgiving, and he's like, can Mr. Gailey come over? We have such a big turkey. And Mr. Gailey's like, oh no, I'll just make myself a sandwich. And then she's like, oh, okay. And then the daughter's like, did I ask nicely, Mr. Gailey? Like they had planned it between the two of them, which is cute. And she's like, but she's not like annoyed by that. She's like taken aback, like, oh, he has such a close relation with my daughter.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Gailey. So according to IMDb trivia, that is the only character that did not have the same name between versions.
Oh, what's his name in the 90s?
Dylan McDermott plays Brian Bedford in the 90s version.
Chose to change that one character name.
I'm not sure, but I think I read that Bedford is the name of the town in It's a Wonderful Life or something like that. Oh. Can you confirm?
Oh,
Can you
that
confirm?
is. Yeah, it is. It is.
There you go. So it's a little homage to that film.
Oh.
All right, what happens next in yours? So yeah, they have dinner, Thanksgiving dinner. It goes okay. It goes good. And then because the Santa's such a huge hit, they hire him for Macys, but for
Kohl's. I gotta take these off. I put on the glasses for the Santa motif. I don't wear I have these. They're the lowest prescription. I wear them twice a year.
Right.
They're bugging me now, so I'm taking them off. But just when I'm fully in character, I have the glasses on.
What do you think? Zach? Do you think Ryan should wear the glasses?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. No.
Great.
All right, there's your answer. Don't wear the glasses.
Perfect.
Anymore.
Great to have Zach's support. So, what was the question? What happens next?
Yeah. So like when the Santa Claus gets into the department store.
He kills it. The kids love him.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the right chronology, but somewhere in the first act, he is talking to the parents of the kids, and the kids are asking for specific gifts, and he's like, absolutely, you can have that, you can have that, you can have that. And the parents come over and are like, why are you promising my children gifts that I cannot afford? And he's saying slyly to them, well, actually, if you go over to hold please, Shoppers Express, which is the name of the enemy store in this 90s version, Shoppers Express.
Oh, okay.
Not to be confused with Shoppers Drug Mart, which is a great Canadian retail company. Shoppers Express, this fictional department store in fictional 90s New York, has sales. So this new Santa, played by the great Richard Attenborough, he's giving people tips on where to find cheaper gifts, not at Kohl's. So at first, the Kohl's execs are mad, but then a woman credited as woman, played by Allison Janney, but credited as the woman, comes up to the exec people and is like, because your Santa is so honest, I'm going to be a Kohl's shopper forever, or something to that effect.
That is essentially exactly what happened in the 40s.
Okay.
The woman is like, the kid's asking for a specific thing, and the woman's like, I've checked all over Macys. They don't got it. Why you say that you're going to get it? He's like, well, actually, if you go to Gimbel's, they have it. I know they have it in stock. I keep an eye on the toy market.
Okay.
Right. Because I'm Santa Claus.
And the exact same. Just like, this Santa telling people to go to other stores. It's unbelievable. You know what? I've never shopped here in my life, but I will continue shopping for the rest of my life.
I don't understand that logic, though.
Well, because it's like the idea is that Macys is putting the children's happiness and the customers ahead of its own profits.
Gotcha.
They're being as helpful as possible.
But I don't think it makes real world sense.
Sure.
No company would ever do that.
No.
Yeah. And if somebody told me that something was cheaper at a different store, I would just go to that store and then be like, I shop at the cheaper store now.
Right. Yeah.
Well, see, that's the difference. In Macys, it's not about better price. In the 40s, it's not about better prices. It's more or less, if Macys doesn't have it, they'll send it different store.
Oh.
It's never about it's too much money.
Right.
Which is the difference, probably.
I mean, it's curious that the other shopping mall or department store in the 40s one is a real one as well, because in the 90s one, even though the main one is fake, the enemy department store is depicted as such an evil, like just horrible, cold, like soulless corporation. All the people out front that are like the doormen for the department store are dressed in like Russian military garb. Something of a post Cold War era motif that might be
yeah, a little bit. It's, I mean, the 40s version is definitely not, it's not like good or evil. It's literally like, and then Gimbals goes like, I can't believe Macys is doing this. They're known now as the helpful people and we're the bad guys. Well, you know what? We're going to do the same. So it's like this Santa's actions now. Every department store anywhere is like sending their customers to other stores if they don't have it. Everyone's doing it for the good of the children's happiness.
Sure.
Which is like, that's Santa Claus's whole thing.
Absolutely.
So at this point, all the other characters are starting to catch on now that our Kris Kringle truly believes he is Santa Claus.
Okay.
So now they're like, oh shit, did we just hire a crazy person?
Okay.
Is that sort of the trajectory of your movie as well?
So why is that?
Totally.
Why is it so concerning to them though? Because
at least in the 40s, they're like, well, if this person thinks he's Santa Claus, he'll probably go and kill people and attack people because all people who are crazy hurt people.
They say that like line of thinking.
It's the same in the 90s one, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So he could pose a possible threat. He's interacting with children. He's clearly not sane because Santa, of course, does not exist.
Right.
Yeah.
He does.
He does not.
So, yeah, it seems like it might be different from the 40s one, but the enemy
kids, if you're listening, Santa Claus doesn't exist, but you know who does exist? Shoppers Drug Mart Santa Claus.
Thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to go into the next bit of copy I've been provided. Excuse me. On behalf of our executive chairman, Galen Weston Jr., Shoppers Drug Mart, and the whole Loblaws Companies Limited family, happy holidays. Walk right on past the Rexall drugstore and be sure to do all your holiday shopping at Shoppers. For 3 days only, get 1,000 bonus PC Optimum points for every $3 spent on Febreze Holiday Scents. Ho, ho, ho. Febreze.
Oh. I literally can't tell if you're kidding. So I can't tell if this is true.
Febreze Holiday Scents. That's great. I don't know what those would be.
Those like little plug-in things.
Gingerbread scents. Gingerbread cookies.
I do not believe
this.
You.
As I was gonna say, this enemy retail store, Shoppers Express, starts formulating plans to take down this new Kohl's Santa because, as I said, how the quality of your Santa directly reflects your bottom line at the end of the fiscal quarter. So these guys start hatching plans. How can we destroy the reputation of this new 34th Street Santa? And they're very darkly lit and truly just portrayed as like a fascist regime in the city.
A well-known actor who plays like the main bad.
Not known by me.
Okay.
Maybe somebody of note, but nobody really rung a bell for Ryan.
Yeah. Well, see, the other store is Gimbals in the 40s, and again, they're just like, oh, what? And then there's a funny scene where both stores are like doing the same thing, and then they actually have like a press conference sort of thing where they're with the Santa Claus, and they're like, well, thanks to this guy, and Mr. Macy hands him like a check. We don't know how much, but and then Gimble's like, "Oh, Mr. Macy, didn't know you were that generous." And then the Santa's like, "Oh, I know I have a doctor friend, and they really need a new X-ray machine." And Macy's like, "Well, that might not be enough for you. Here, let me write another check. If you buy it here, 10% off." And Gimble's are like, "No, I'll top it off, and you can buy it at cost." So it is
the same Santa at every store?
No, he's just the Macy's Santa.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're directing all their Santas and all their staff to do the exact same thing that this Santa is doing, which is directing people to other stores if they don't have it.
Okay.
Which is, yeah.
Ho,
Which is
ho,
nice.
ho.
It's a nice message. It's like, hey, we
Ho,
don't
ho.
care. And like the thing,
Ho, ho,
Mr.
ho.
Macy is like, like we look like the harbingers of goodwill. This is a great ad campaign. I was like, I don't think any CEO would be like ever go on board with that. Ever.
Sure.
No.
They don't put their profits over people,
Right.
or
right.
put their people over profits.
People for profits.
Right.
One key moment in the kind of first act setup of how amazing this Santa is was that one of the little girls that sat on his lap was deaf or hard of hearing and could only speak through ASL. And our Santa, our hero, busts out some like profesh ASL
Nice.
and totally makes this little girl's day. Definitely one of the emotional heights of the film. Got a little weepy, like
Wow.
really
Right off
good
the
stuff.
bat, eh?
That moment in the 40s, not the same.
I
Not
think
the
I
same
read this.
emotionally, but Lenka, do you want to guess? There is a language barrier. Do you want to guess what the language is? I don't know. Just guess. This is a
Say
fun
something.
game we're playing right
We're
now.
playing
it
a
just
game.
that
This is
they
the new
spoke
segment.
A different language.
Yeah, there's a little girl who just came from a different country,
Okay.
and I think she's in an orphanage, or she's just been recently adopted,
Okay.
but she does not speak English. She only speaks this one language, and he just starts busting it out, and they have a good old time together in this language.
Is it Spanish? Dutch?
It is Dutch. Yes.
Oh,
How did you
okay.
know that?
I
Ryan?
read that. I
You
read
read
that on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he busts out Dutch, and they have a whole Dutch, and they sing this Dutch Santa Claus
Cute.
song together.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
No song in the
It's
90s
nice.
one.
It's
That's-
not
yeah,
as
that's a-
emotionally uplifting as ASL.
But it's definitely a more like, I guess, potentially obscure language that
Yeah,
your,
that
like
he-
your average person might happen to know.
yeah, I guess
So
so.
a way to prove that, okay, maybe he could
Yeah.
be Santa
And
because he
so-
knows
Little girl, Susan Walker.
Boyle.
Yeah, Susan Boyle. She sees this happen, and she's been skeptical the whole time.
Right.
She sat on Santa's lap and was
Mhm.
like, "You're not the real Santa. Like you can't get me what I want." really."
Right.
And she sees this, and she starts to go, like
She's
that's
scheming.
weird.
She's scheming.
Not scheming.
not
She's
scheming.
not scheming. She's like, oh,
She's
like,
scheming.
maybe he is real.
She's getting convinced
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
not all things are as they seem.
exactly.
She's scheming.
So, what's next? What's the main conflict that happens for you next?
The main conflict.
Well, they start the evil store starts scheming in your side. On this
Yes.
side, it's mostly about there's the only real evil person on this side, maybe not evil, is actually the Macys like psychiatrist that has to review all their employees.
Right.
Oh,
And
okay.
even though
What?
Santa
psychiatrist.
Kris Kringle doesn't or passes the like test and is not shown to be,
Sure.
crazy in general, he fails him because basically, Kris Kringle outsmarts him or out charismas him. I don't know.
Hmm.
He points out all these flaws that the psychiatrist has because the psychiatrist is like itching his eyebrow the whole time. It's a real like character trait, and
Okay.
he's all like he's got anxiety. He hates his wife at home, like literally.
Darn.
It's all
Oh God.
and like Kris Kringle is like picking all these like
Santa just
emotional
says
things
that
out
to
of him.
him. So I see you scratching your eyebrow, which indicates to me
Yeah,
that you have a
literally,
poor
yeah.
life at home.
he psychs him out. Sort of.
Interesting.
Wow. Doesn't seem super Santa-like behavior
It
to me,
doesn't.
but
No,
No.
not really.
the 90s version, there's some more like the romance story beats. The gentleman played by Dylan McDermott, I believe, proposes.
What?
Let me check my
Oh
notes
shit,
here.
that's fast.
Really?
See, that's
Oh, yeah.
the thing. 90s movies, like, they go right into it just like that.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely this establishes that they had some kind of relationship that had been happening, but she
She declined the proposal.
she declines. She calls him a fool, in fact.
Ooh.
Wow, that's
Which
harsh.
You're a
is
fool.
harsh, but also like clearly she's putting out signals and he is just not picking them up.
No.
So,
So
bad
why is
call
she
on him.
hanging out with him then?
I mean, I think it's like they are in the same building, I think, and it's her daughter has such a connection with him that it's like she can't end this relationship full stop because, Sarah
And
played by
define it.
right.
woman.
Well, it's all relationships are complicated.
So I got to circle back real quick, but to say that the inciting incident for all the we need to get this Santa out of here because he's crazy,
right?
Is Doris is doing up his paperwork to get his like paycheck going, and his like employee card literally says Kris Kringle, North Pole, but where his current address is this like home for the elderly.
Okay.
So that's what clicks in her head, like, oh, this guy is a little out of his mind.
He's old.
Because he lives at
because he lives at a home for the elderly. And so they call in the owner, like the main doctor at the home, and the guy's like, Kris wouldn't hurt a fly. He's super, I support everything that he does because he just truly believes in the Christmas spirit. Mm-hmm. Like they just like let him go on with his, delusion because he doesn't hurt anyone and it's all in goodwill.
Okay.
So they're like, okay. And after that whole stunt, Macys is like, no, you can't fire him. Like he's, the key to our success. So we're not firing him. The psychiatrist doesn't want to pass him, but then they're like, oh, we don't want to listen to you, psychiatrist. They really like shit on psychiatry. But actually, Kris Kringle, he does have a great line where he's just like, I respect the field of psychiatry, blah, blah, blah. You are not a real psychiatrist. So it's like a little in there, like, oh, at first I thought they were just like making this.
Right.
Like all mental health officials are evil people telling you that you're bad.
Right.
It was a different time.
Yeah. Because so the guy from the home's like, I really wouldn't like him though taking that train ride out here every day all the time. So if you could find him a place to live. So
that's a lot.
Doris has this like coworker. I don't know if your Dory has like this coworker guy that like higher up or like the second in command sort of guy.
There is a guy.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's a similar guy. He has, that 40s comedy energy going on. And he's like, oh, I'll get.
What is that 40s comedy?
I don't know. He's
like
just
Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, I'll liquor up my wife tonight and ask her if we can have this Kris Kringle steak.
Oh my God.
Their son has gone to.
Oh my.
Because their son has gone to college, so she's like, you have an extra room. Maybe he should stay with you. He's like, I know. I'll liquor up my wife. He literally says like, and once she's plastered, feeling better, feeling good, we'll ask her then, and she'll totally be on board with it.
Wow.
And so
it was a different time.
So she's like, oh, can he go with you tonight? He's like, no, you take him home for dinner, and then I'll phone you after I've liquored up my wife.
Okay.
So they bring Kris home for dinner, and Mr. Gailey and Kris and Doris and Susan, they all have dinner together, and Kris Kringle is like teaching Susan how to use her imagination, like act like a monkey, pretend to be an animal.
Is she doing it?
Yeah, she's like walking around doing weird shit, which is funny. It's really cute.
Okay.
Did that happen in your movie too, Ryan?
I don't recall any monkey impressions or animal related things.
Did Kris Kringle teach her how to use her imagination a bit more?
A little girl.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. He babysits for her one night.
So wait, is she resistant or she's just okay with it because she's like,
I mean, she dives into being a kid pretty quickly in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of resistance in the beginning, but
yeah,
it's mostly the mother who has to be convinced that magic exists.
Right? Yeah. Let me just check my notes. He babysits for her, and I think the little girl played expertly by Mara Wilson is on board with Santa at that point. The big Act 2 dramatic event is that the enemy the enemy department store Shoppers Express finds the original drunk Santa Claus from the Kohl's Thanksgiving Day parade. There's a bar that we are introduced to that is full of department store Santas drinking their troubles away. He finds this original Santa and kind of bribes him to help them take down the good 34th Street Santa. And so the big a big important scene is that the original drunkard Santa goes into the department store, starts heckling the good Santa, and then he yells at all the kids that this Santa's not real, that he's a fake, which is just really mean.
Sure.
And then after...
is he drunk during this? What is really in it for the drunk Santa?
I think just straight up cash money.
Right, sure.
And he, at the end of the day, follows the good Santa out of the department store and starts harassing him again. And the good Santa's holding his fancy silver cane.
Nice.
And he gets so worked up that he like whacks the drunk guy in the face just a little bit. But the guy like knew that he has a sense or like has a temper, and so he overreacts and pretends that he's been knocked unconscious. There's all these bystanders. The people from the bad corporation are like, hey, that's the Coles Santa. Hey, you're supposed to be good, right, everybody? Isn't this bad now? And everyone's like, yeah, it is bad. And then he's taken away. This is when all like the psychiatry stuff happens in the 90s version. And they're like, he says he's from the North Pole. That's insane. And so they commit him, and then it leads into the third act, which is a dramatic legal thriller.
Yes.
What?
Okay, so 40s version time. So, Ryan, did your movie also have like a janitor coworker like that's younger who also plays Santa at like another like at like a rec center or some shit?
No.
Okay, so in the 40s version, Santa's like getting his suit on in like the employee like locker room or whatever. And there's this guy, he's like a janitor. He looks like he's 17. I could probably play him for Christmas. He's kind of a dead ringer for a young me. But
okay. Everyone would be like, "Oh, it's the guy from the 40s version of the 31st
But
Street."
he's also a Santa player. Like he does it down at like a Brooklyn rec center or something. Okay. But he's got his like, yeah, I play Santa down at the rec center. Like he has such a like that accent the whole time. He's like, when I just see the children smile light up, it's everything.
Cute.
And so there's this guy, and at one morning, Kris Kringle and him are eating breakfast before work, and he's talking about how he goes to see the Macys psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist is telling him like, yeah, apparently I hate my father and I didn't know, and there's a lot of deep-seated things I never knew that I had, and he's just telling me I have it. And Kris Kringle just gets all riled up, like he's causing issues that aren't actually in this guy.
Gotcha.
So he runs up and he gets so angry at the psychiatrist, and he's like, there's nothing, there's only one thing to deal with people like you. And then he like knocks him on the head with his cane. Kris Kringle does, because he gets so worked up with the psychiatrist.
Okay.
And the psychiatrist is like fine, but then fakes being like unconscious when he sees Susan and her coworker / upper management guy like see it, and then Kris like leaves. They're like, oh my god, and they're like, and they have to like convince him. Well, not convince him. They trick him into getting into a cab with the one guy. To then they drive to like a psych ward to commit him, because they say, oh, it's the mayor wants to meet you, and then they drive him to.
Oh,
that's
wow.
So
yeah. So the same kind of thing. He hits someone with his cane,
right? And then they commit him.
And now, Act 3, where they have to like, they're basically like we want to free Kris Kringle. Like we don't think he should be committed, and now they're going through an injunction. Mr. Gailey happens to be a lawyer. I'm sure Mr. Bedford,
yes, also a lawyer.
Is also a lawyer. Is going to represent Kris Kringle.
This is ridiculous.
And it's a law drama about whether it's okay. Essentially, the whole court case boils down to, is Santa Claus real?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is what I've always known about this film. I feel like it's like always when it was playing on CBC, like in 2002 or whatever in December, they would just show the courtroom scenes. And that's how I always understood this movie, was that it was a courtroom drama. Deciding whether or not Santa was real.
Yeah.
And I think I'm more confused about it after having watched it, because I don't understand. They're in like a gorgeous courtroom, like beautiful marble, like New York classical courtroom with a judge, with a full audience, whatever that's called, the people watching, no jury, just the judge. And they I don't exactly know gallery, thank you. I don't exactly know what the case is that's happening, because I know it's like he's been committed, they think he's crazy, so he's in an insane asylum or whatever they're calling it, and our friend Mr. Bedford is trying to help him get out, but there's the opposing lawyer. I don't know who he works for or like what his deal is.
Me too, actually. In the 40s, I'm
Okay,
still
cool.
kind of like, wait,
Really?
I don't think he works for Macy's. Does
Like
he work
the
for
state?
I think
That was
so,
what I
to have him
assumed.
uncommitted.
Yeah, but like the amount of work, and I mean that's just lawyers for you, I guess. But the amount of work that he puts in just to be like, this guy thinks he's Santa, and that's bad, and like
Essentially,
yeah.
And then
just
the whole court is like exactly like that. Just the court case happens, and they're like, well, like he's Santa, and blah blah blah. And in the background, there's many different scenes of like Mr. Macy, like wondering like what the headlines will say if he testifies like Claus doesn't exist, and like the headlines would make him to be evil. There's like the judge doesn't get like hugs from his grandkids because they think he's like against Santa Claus. There's all this like, oh, like
Kids
the children
be
around the world hate us because we're
Yeah.
trying to take down Santa Claus.
yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, similar stuff. The Coles one, they convince Elizabeth Perkins' character convinces the higher ups at Coles to be like, we're with Santa. And then there's this whole montage of people like putting up posters and stuff around New
nice.
York City being
Good
like,
montage.
we believe. It's like they're all like union workers for the most part, which is weird. There's a few people that are like wearing buttons that say we believe, but then it's just like local 264 supports Santa
Right.
Claus. Just like a lot of blue collar union workers like
Right.
really
That
getting on
really
board
It's a
for this Santa
pro-union
case.
movie, yeah. That's
Uh,
why Macy's didn't want to do it this time around.
I guess, yeah, anti-union unions are great, folks. But it was really surprising how much of the city really got invested in this case that is just whether or not this old guy should be committed or not.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I know that we're running low on time, so I got to get through these other ad reads here.
Oh my god, this must be.
Take it from Santa himself. Those Grinches over at Rexall wouldn't know holiday
There's no
cheer
way.
if it bit them in
This
their
is wrong.
behinds. Come to Shoppers Drug Mart for your holiday shopping. And for today only, get 100 bonus PC Optimum points every time you buy 2 Polysporin brand triple action medicated eardrops. Ho ho ho. Yeah, it says for today only, but it's getting pretty late, so I don't know how long that'll apply.
I'm still so unsure.
Shoppers Drug Mart.
All right.
So we're into our third act, legal drama. It's not looking good for Santa in the 90s version, at least. And our lawyer, Mr. Bedford, has got comments from Atex on the chat here.
Find out for us.
Going to
'cause-
Shoppers. Great. Don't forget to bring your Optimum card.
Stop it.
And
Tell them Shoppers Santa Claus sent you.
yes, please. And go to the Young and Carlton one if you're nearby.
So, yeah, there's many scenes. There's even a scene of Mr. Gailey calls the prosecution's son up to the stand,
Okay.
and basically is just like, is Santa Claus in this room? Or is like, do you believe in Santa Claus? Like, yes. Well, who told you about Santa Claus? Well, my father did. And he's like, yeah, and my father doesn't tell lies. And he's like, do you see Santa Claus in this room? He's like, yeah, it's him right there, and points to Santa Claus. So they're
Right.
basically just humiliating the prosecution.
Yeah, there's like the guy calls children to the stand and is like, who's Santa? And he's like, that's Santa. And then he's like, I rest my case. Like,
Right.
very
Really
cool,
is.
very convincing
Right.
lawyer stuff.
Right.
But I don't know if you just said this. I'm sorry, I was trying to process my thoughts. But in the 90s version, he calls the other lawyer's wife. Is that what you just said?
No, son.
Son. Okay, he calls his wife to the stand in this one and is like, so do you tell your kids that Santa's real? And she's like, I don't tell them. My husband tells them. And everyone's like, oh, because like the other lawyer
shit.
himself is
Right.
like telling his kids that Santa exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the gall.
Yeah, like that seems so confusing though, that there is is the question of the court whether or not Santa exists, or is it that this man believes he is Santa and he is in fact not? That seems where the line is becoming
Yeah.
confusing.
It is.
Because, like,
Yeah, it's like it should be ultimately whether this man is legally, mentally
Right.
unwell.
right.
Really, it should
'Cause it
be,
doesn't
is
even
this
sound like
man
they're
dangerous? I think that's what
But
the
it
whole
doesn't
thing
even
should
sound
be.
like they're trying to identify whether or not he is Santa. They're just saying, is Santa real?
Well, I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It's like he is only because he you know,
it's
as
a battle
much,
for the heart of the nation. At this
exactly
point, yeah.
battle for the heart of the nation. As much as our hero lawyer tells our Santa to like not speak unless called upon in the court, he keeps making these objections. He stands up. He's like, no. One witness is like, it's like a naval officer that's been to the North Pole, the literal North Pole, and the opposing lawyer is like, did you see any workshops there? And this is great. This is a part I wrote down. Our Santa stands up and is like, of course he couldn't see the workshops. They exist in a dream realm.
Oh, wow.
Is that in your version?
No. They're not talking realms.
No, I was blown away because there's very little like mythology, like magical explanation for how this Santa exists in this film. But all of a sudden he busts out this dream realm stuff, and I'm like, tell me more. Like, give me information on the mythology.
The thing about this movie, and I won't give it away yet, but until the very end, really, the whole movie could really be like this lovely old Kris Kringle fellow just like spreading joy and telling people to go shop at other stores.
Right.
He's not magic. He doesn't even, he's at this point in the movie has never predicted anything done other than speaking Dutch, but he could know Dutch.
He
and
could
it was
just
a
know Dutch.
coincidence.
I don't know.
He hasn't really done anything that was super like only Santa, like only a magical all-knowing being could do this.
Right.
Which is what I like. Until the very end, you're kind of like, oh, this could just be a nice old time.
That's interesting. For the 90s version, it's still pretty unclear whether or not this guy, I don't know if I missed some like cues at the very end of the film, but I still like today was thinking like, is he? Because throughout the whole film, you're like, yeah, this guy's Santa. That's what this whole thing is about. He's actually Santa, and the rest of the world has to discover this through this court scene. But we'll get to it, but he really doesn't ever pull any things that Santa could only do. Got a few more to go through, so I just got to jump on these. Another message from Shoppers Executive Chairman Galen Weston Jr. Do you guys know Galen Weston Jr.?
No.
He's
Mr.
the
Galen.
executive.
Mr. Galen Weston.
Galen Weston is the executive chairman of Loblaws, the family of companies of which Shoppers Drug Mart is a part. So he sent along some messages for your holiday greetings. Another message from Shoppers executive chairman Galen Weston Jr. Ever wonder why it's called Rexall? Because shopping at Rexall will Rex all of your holiday plans.
That's what he said.
I feel like the tense could have been adjusted. Rexall will Rex all of your holiday plans. See you at Shoppers, where you'll get 425 bonus optimum points for every $1.25 you spend on multigrain wheat thins. Ho ho ho. Happy holidays from Shoppers.
So aggressively.
Just got to get through two more of those before we get to the end here. But
okay, I would be remiss if I didn't mention. So, at a certain point, Susan is getting more convinced that Santa Claus is real, but she's like, "You couldn't get me what I want," and he's like, "Well, try me."
Okay.
And she like pulls out this like I think it's a drawing. I believe it's a drawing of like this kind of like bungalow, nice house with like a backyard because she really wants to live in this nice house.
Sure.
That she's dreamt of. She wants a backyard to play in. She doesn't like their Midtown Manhattan apartment.
Absolutely gorgeous $1 million Midtown Manhattan.
Want a more suburban home with like a family.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, like he's starting to be like, this is again where you're like, is it really Santa Claus? Because he's like, or is this a Santa Claus who's like has a budget? Because he's just like, ooh, that's a tall. I'm really not sure. He's like, you're not Santa Claus if you can't get this for me.
Yep.
And she's like, well, I'll try. I'll do my best.
Okay.
So that's
Seed
something
has
that
been
does happen
planted.
during it. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
90s version is the same. She wants a house. She wants a baby brother,
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
and she wants
Demanding.
a father. And
She just wants a father, not her old father. She doesn't care.
I don't think she likes her
She's
old
pretty
father.
attached to-
Does
There's
she like
one
her old
line
father,
Very-
Zach?
I think I agree, actually.
Agreed.
that doesn't make any sense. Oh, our mic is me.
Yeah.
Doesn't-
That he said he agreed, which doesn't really answer the question.
Way to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Zach for
Zach.
being not paying attention as usual.
Yeah, same deal. Santa's like, oh, I don't know about this, and I was wondering, like, what is the threshold of things that Santa can get?
Yeah.
Is it just toys? Is it just Kohl's products?
Toys.
Is
or-
it just Cole's?
He doesn't really expect, because there is like the whole confusion of like, are gifts for children exclusively things that are bought at a store, or does Santa indeed provide gifts? And so this is where it's unclear whether or not in the reality of the film, if this is the real Santa. This could be like very well known, but me having only watched this once, it is unclear to me whether or not this is actually the real Santa,
Sure.
because it's like, if
He doesn't fly away on a sleigh.
exactly, there's
That's
nothing
what I
like
get
that.
it.
There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like if he is the real Santa in this movie, almost like all of the adults don't believe in him.
Mhm.
So it's like either he's delivering presents to the children or he's not. And
Right.
it seems like he's not doing it, because if I was a parent and there was this random gift that I didn't buy that appeared under my tree, I'd be like, God dang, something's going on here. There's magic at
Right.
play.
No, for sure.
So all signs point to not real Santa.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Anyways,
So there's at one point during all the court proceedings and all the, I don't know how many days this is, probably like a month.
probably
Of course, yeah.
probably a month-long trial.
Just like
People in the
yeah.
gallery every day.
Atticus Finch is there and he's just really fighting hard.
Who,
But,
yeah.
there's a scene with a bunch of like postal workers like sorting through mail, and they're like, oh yeah, every year we get all these letters to Santa Claus, blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, I know what we can do with them, something to that effect. Then so they're having a court proceeding and they have a break, and someone comes in and grabs Mr. Gailey, and they're like, ooh, and then he runs out, and it's kind of like in the background as the two prosecution lawyers are talking. And do you want to go? Because it's probably the exact same thing.
No, this
No?
is probably the most different part
Really?
between the two versions.
Okay, I'll say my part then.
Okay.
Yep.
So we come back. He calls, I forget who he calls to the stand, or I don't know if he calls anyone to the stand, but he hands like 5 letters from children to Santa Claus
Okay.
to the judge. And he's like, this is letters to Santa. This is U.S. Postal
Nothing.
Mail.
Proves nothing.
Well, he said this is the U.S. Postal Service, is a government federal agency. They are supposed to operate truthfully and without, without
Sin.
sin. Yeah, I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, whatever. They're supposed to operate in a truthful manner and deliver all mail. And these are all letters to Santa Claus. And this is a U.S. government federal agency, so this should be deniable proof that Santa Claus is real, that they have these letters and they deliver them, and that they're being delivered now. He's like, I'm delivering them here to this man here,
Okay.
Kris Kringle. And the judge is like, this is 5 letters. This is hardly any evidence. Like, well, I have more evidence. And the judge is like, yes, please show us the evidence. And Mr. Gailey's like, are you sure? And the judge is like, yes, show us the evidence. And then like 20 U.S. postal workers come in with big bags of
Right.
letters and just dump them all on the judge's bench. And the judge immediately just like, well, this is a federal agency, so case dismissed.
You're kidding.
Kris Kringle's real.
You're kidding.
Yes.
This is, and the more I think about it, especially since Ryan brought it up, it's like each parent buys the gifts for their kids, and if there was any gift that was not purchased by them, they'd be like, that absolutely. So why is it that like now Kris Kringle's coming out when it's convenient for him? He hasn't supplied anybody with gifts in the past. Obviously, we could assume
I think it's just this man truly
Or
is mentally unwell. I think he's just a nice guy.
Yeah.
That's gone through some stuff, and everyone just wants the best for him. And
None of this proves anything.
that ending is a lot more like cinematically satisfying than the 90s version to me. The 90s one,
like that's like the biggest moment. And it's like, oh wow,
yeah,
that's the proof.
I read the Wikipedia entry of the 40s version. It was like that is so much better, but similar vibe, like similar line of thinking on the judge's part. They do like the last of the witnesses. Was there a reindeer in the court at all for the 40s version? They bring a reindeer into the court for the 90s one.
They had that kind of budget back then.
Yeah.
That's proof.
And they're like, well, you're Santa. You can make a reindeer fly. So we brought you a reindeer, make it fly. And he's like, I can only make them fly on Christmas Eve, of course. And the whole courtroom laughs at him, which is harsh. So yeah, the last day of witnesses, our lawyer dude Bedford is like, I don't know what to do. He's talking to the little girl, and I don't remember what happens, but he somehow is like looking at currency at an American dollar bill of some sort, and it says "In God We Trust" on the money, and he's like, here we go, light bulb moment.
Idea.
We were watching and trying to be like, what is the moment? Like, what is the discovery that he's made by looking at this dollar bill? And so the final scene for the 90s version is the judge is about to make his ruling, and it's not looking good for Santa. He's probably going to get committed again. But our hero gal, Sarah, was it? Sarah?
Dory?
Susan? Oh,
Susan's the daughter.
Cool.
Yeah.
Susan. Mara Wilson as Susan. Right. She is sitting in the back of the court with her mother, and the lawyer and her have got this little plan. And so she walks up to the judge's bench, and I thought was like, you're in contempt of court. Like, get out of here. Like, probably not suitable. Like, she shouldn't be doing this. This won't fly in the court of law. But she approaches the bench without asking, and she hands the judge a little envelope, and it's got a Christmas card in it, and there's a dollar bill in it with "In God We Trust" circled in red marker. And so the judge is like, oh, wait a moment. It's revealed earlier that the judge is like, I wish I could let this guy go because I love Santa. This is great.
Yes.
But through seeing "In God We Trust" on this legal tender, he's like, cool. So because this is legal tender and it's a government thing and it says "In God We Trust" on it, and we don't know if God's real, but it's on this government stuff that's money, then we can also, as the government, say that we believe in Santa, even though we can't prove that he's real. So the precedent set by God and our money means that we can say Santa's real. And then that's the end of that.
I hate
That's
that.
fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's really weird. I will say...
Why did they choose to do that?
Like, why switch that, the original ending? The original ending, like, is cool and makes... Well, I mean, not cool, but it makes way more sense.
The visual,
so many connections.
The dumping of the mail on the bench
they
too.
Just dump
it seems like
bills, and it's just all.
We worship the God of cool.
money.
Exactly.
Our money.
I have to shout out my girlfriend Priscilla, who might be watching. She when we were watching, and the little girl hands him the card. She thought it would be fun. She thought it would be funny if the card said, "I'll kill your whole family." Like he's using little girl to threaten the judge to make the right decision. So shout out to Priscilla for that.
Shout out.
Great bit. I know we're nearing the end, so I got a couple more of these to get through.
Calm that elbow.
Sorry. Trust me when I say if you do so much as think of buying one holiday product from a Rexall retail store, I guarantee your entire holiday season will be ruined. I know because of my Santa magic or whatever Santa Magic, and then it just says bonus PC Optimum points. Yeah, so not Rexall. Shop at Shoppers Drug Mart and get those Optimum points. Oh. No, I didn't say it on that. I didn't say it on that one. Ho ho ho.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's
so he's acquitted. They immediately are just like mistrial, whatever. Not mistrial, whatever. Case dismissed.
Okay.
They're all celebrating. I forget where they are. They're in some like boardroom, or they're in some big room later on where they're giving like a gift exchange, and he's there dressed as Santa, and everyone's having a good holiday party. And
really stupid.
Susan opens up like this little gift, and I think it's like a toy or something. And she's like, well, you didn't get me what you want, so you are just a kindly nice old man, like my mom said. You're not really Santa. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of blanking on the end here. Not the very end, but how they get to this point. But he's like, oh, well, I don't know. Like, I'm sorry, not everyone gets what they want. Sometimes Santa can't get everything that you want.
wow, cop out.
It is kind of a cop out.
Yeah.
But he like hands Doris, like a letter.
Okay.
And it kind of cuts to them in this cab, and the letter has like an address on it. And there's Doris and Mr. Gailey and Susan all going in this cab to this mystery location. And then as they pull up, we see like almost like the exact house that she drew in her picture.
Yeah.
And they run in, and it's the house. It's like the dream house. And I guess it's been paid for now. It's already paid for Mrs. Doris, even though she probably makes quite a pretty penny as one of the higher ups at Macys. But it has amazing midtown apartment.
Right.
But they go in, and it's the apartment, and she finally admits, because the whole time Mr. Gailey is like, you know, children should have imaginations. He's kind of happy-go-lucky. He loves Kris Kringle. He's like, yeah, maybe he is Santa Claus. And she finally admits, like, maybe there is magic in this world. And then he like kisses her because he's like, you are the perfect woman now. Now you believe in magic. And
now that you get it.
yeah.
Took you long enough.
And then he's like, well, you know, like maybe I did do a good thing defending a crazy old man sort of thing. And then they look and they see in the corner his cane is in the corner. And they're like,
so he is
couldn't
Santa
be.
in the
It
end.
couldn't be, really? And then that's like, yeah. It's like he's Santa Claus.
Okay, so he is.
How's he walking?
So he is Santa.
Yeah. Well, that's the end. Like that's the very end of the movie.
Okay.
They see the cane. He is Santa Claus for real. They got him. They got
Okay.
the exact house that she like drew.
Uh-huh.
So how else could it
Sure.
be except for magic or just a lot of money?
Yeah.
Gosh, I'll burn through the 90s one. It's really messed up. The two lovebirds each receive messages that are like, meet at this church after midnight mass tonight. And they meet at this church, and there's no one else there except this priest. And Elizabeth Perkins gets there first. Is that? Yeah, Elizabeth Perkins and Dylan McDermott. They both get there. She gets there first, and then he gets there, and they start playing like the "Here Comes the Bride" music.
Yeah.
And then the priest guy is like, "Okay, we're doing a marriage. We're marrying you now.
Yeah.
You're getting married now."
Knew it.
And they're just like, "Oh, that's Santa." He arranged their own wedding without their consent.
So, and they do it.
Yeah, they do it. And like,
I hate this movie.
just based on the...
I don't like this.
Oh, we're getting some great comments in the chat there. You three are great. Thank you so much. Oh, thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Todd Donald. Get ready for Todd at 9 o'clock, everyone.
Yeah, insane. He plans their wedding without their consent. Like, based on the conversation these two had mere days ago, they are not ready for this step at all. This is such a bad move. And then they're cool with it. So whatever, they get married. They tell the little girl we're married. The way that they reveal that they're married is
stupid.
The little girl's like looking at the Christmas tree in the corner the next morning, and she sees this incredible reflection like moving across the wall, and it's the light of the Christmas tree reflecting off of her mother's gigantic engagement ring, and that's how she finds out that they got married. Just ridiculous. And then they go for a drive to the house that they use for like the photo shoots for the Kohl's whatever magazines. What are they called? The catalogs. Yeah. Well, remember the Sears catalog? You guys remember getting that? God, that was great. Everything is digital now. So they go to the house where they take the photos for the catalog, and then the woman's boss is there, and he's like, that guy Kris Kringle said that you guys want to buy the house. And the way they explain it is that because Santa won the law case, the store was successful and made a lot of money for the holidays, and so everybody got giant bonuses
enough to buy a house.
Or at least put a down payment.
Sure, I guess. Sure. But like, woof, the boundary crossing that happened on the part of Kris Kringle in that last 15 minutes is like unforgivable. And wow. And then the end of the movie, like I said before, the little girl wanted a house and a dad and a little brother. Right. So she's like, I got 2 of my 3 wishes. And the last shot is her going up the stairs being like, I also want a little brother. And then her parents...
And then you hear the bed squeaking behind her.
Oh, God, no, yeah. Her parents are like standing in the foyer, and they both look down at the woman's stomach as if they're like, could Kris Kringle have a miracle too? It's a bit upsetting. So,
oh my God.
That's so weird.
One last message from Galen Weston Jr., the great executive chairman of Shoppers and Loblaws Companies Limited. Loblaws Companies Limited. Galen says, okay. Rexall CEO Brian S. Tyler is a scoundrel. Brian S. Tyler invited me to a Foo Fighters concert in 2014. I accepted, but he never followed up, resulting in me not attending the concert. This is from Galen. This isn't me speaking. Yeah. Me not attending the Foo Fighters concert. Brian S. Tyler is a liar and a dud. He also has 3 Tesla hatchbacks. It says, who needs that many cars, let alone that many hatchbacks? Don't shop at Rexall. Shop at Shoppers Drug Mart. Ho, ho, ho. He got back to the ho, ho there. So shop at Shoppers. Happy holidays from Galen and the rest of the kooky gang there at Loblaws Companies Limited. And don't forget to claim your bonus optimum points. 20,000. I forget what it was. 20,000 before December 22nd if you spend $75 or more in store. And tell them Santa sent you.
Well,
I'm so mad at
thank you. Thank you so much for that,
Thanks, Ryan.
I can't believe that movie goes off that, like, the ending is that different.
Yeah.
That's also so that bad crazy. In both cases. I don't like either of those.
Yeah. Atex says RIP to our Rexall sponsorship.
True. But Shoppers is looking pretty good.
Shoppers, if you're listening. I mean, got your man here.
So. Rexall, I don't know if you guys are going to Rexall, but they do air miles, and the trade-in value on air miles, it takes you like
it's crazy. Yeah.
It takes you years to get anything. I mean, you got to spend thousands of dollars a week. The actual, because you get air miles, you're thinking like, I'm gonna use this for flights, right? So like, I try to buy a flight back home to Edmonton, Alberta, to see my family in the holidays. I'll use my air miles. I look at my air miles. I've got 8,000. And there's blackout dates, so it's like even if I wanted to spend them, I can't use them to get home around the holiday season.
It's a racket.
Exactly. So I mean, Shoppers Optimum, God, PC Optimum points
way better.
It's similar. 10,000 Optimum points equals $10 in store, and you can use it at Shoppers. You can use it at Loblaws. You can go to Esso and get your gas, pump your gas.
No, this is actually funny that this has been mentioned because today I was advised to get the PC MasterCard.
Do it. I have one.
Shop Esso.
There we go. Thank you, Galen. Thank you so much.
You.
I have a PC Optimum MasterCard. I was going to pull it up, but I thought people might see the number on the front, so I should not do that.
Smart.
But I'm a believer, folks.
Yeah. Well, fucking crazy ending for that other one though. I still can't believe.
That's
like
garbage.
Why? Like they had one built for them that was great, and they
Right.
decided to go somewhere else with it. I don't understand.
They're both garbage though. Like I don't really like. I don't love the letter thing, and I don't like the dollar bill thing either.
Well, the dollar bill thing's stupid.
Yeah, I like the visual idea of the letters, but I think none of it proves anything. And I'm still confused about what the debate is.
It's all about faith.
It's all asking the question: can magic exist in this world of consumerism, of the legal system, the unfair legal system that we have in place now in America, here in America? And fortunately in the movies they find a way to make the magic exist, but kids, the world out there is tough.
Bleak.
It's tough out there.
It is.
So keep on believing as long as you can, and don't become a lawyer.
Don't become a lawyer.
Go to Shoppers Drug Mart. Consumerism's bad, but with the prices you can get at Shoppers Drug Mart, no complaints there.
Right.
All right. Alenka.
Yeah.
How many
PC
Optimum points do you give this movie? These movies.
Yeah. These movies. Okay, so.
And the great thing is that there's no end to that scale because you can collect as many PC Optimum points as you want. It's just 10,000 equals $10.
I know. Okay, so I would say for Ryan's 1994 version, I give it like enough PC Optimum points to buy a package of gum. So not a lot.
Well,
right.
Then I would say
it's just that
not your retelling. It's just this movie sounds like garbage.
Well, no, I just want to
yes.
The minimum redemption is 10,000 points, which is $10, and a pack of gum has got to be what, $3.23. So go on.
I see what you're saying. Got you. Thank you for clearing that up. You really did your homework, and I'm mad and impressed at the same time.
Thank you.
And then for Will's retelling, PC Optimum points. I guess these PC Optimum points could get you like a nice little like you have your family get together coming, and you have to buy a gift that's like under $20 so that you guys can do a gift exchange for the whole family. Will's version will get you that gift. At least it's not gonna be like no one's gonna fight over this gift, but you'll have a gift to bring to the party.
Right.
Great.
That's a good one. I like that.
Cool.
Yeah, that was a good scale.
I mean, it is a great
measure.
movie that I think you should watch. So
it sounds really frustrating.
Maybe we'll talk about it next year.
But I do love Jolly Men.
Yeah.
Around this time of year. Old Jolly Men.
You love Jolly Men around this time
Jolly
of year.
Men
we can all agree on that
in
sentiment.
general, but yeah.
I want to know what Zach thinks.
Yeah, what does Zach think?
Zach, how did you feel about this movies?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what's funny is like
that's pretty accurate to what he would say.
If, like, guys, in case you didn't clue in, those are recordings of Zach, but realistically, those are quite spot on with how he would respond in real time. Too.
Yeah, true. He would forget immediately.
Yeah.
Well,
I think I had one final question. That was my last note. That the movie is called Miracle on 34th Street. 34th Street meaning where the shopping center is.
Yeah.
What is the miracle?
Yeah.
That happened on 34th Street, right?
So it's not saying if it was the end result in the courtroom, it would say whatever.
That's the miracle baby.
Okay.
Miracle virgin baby.
Okay. I'll allow that.
I would say in my version, I think the miracle is supposed to be that these two, Susan and Doris, these two hyper realistic, like, don't believe in any silly fairy tale people, believe in fairy tales by the end of it. It's a miracle.
Okay.
Oh, I was thinking the miracle is that like this guy got cleared.
Yeah.
Right. But I was saying that happens like in the courtroom, which is not on 34th Street.
But are you sure it's not?
I guess. Hey, you know what? I don't know. You lived in New York, right?
I'm sure there could be a law office.
There you go. Take it from a local.
I actually did live on 34th.
Did you really?
And 8th. Yeah, I did.
Wow.
34th and 8th.
Yeah,
Wow.
right in Midtown, baby.
Wow.
Nice.
Look at you.
It's home.
Alphabet City.
Yeah.
That's a neighborhood, right?
Ryan, thank you so much for coming on today
Thanks for having
and
me.
performing your contractually obligated duties
Yep.
for us.
And then some, I would say.
And then some, yeah.
The bit was not required,
Nope.
not invited, and not well received overall, I would say. But I'm glad that you let me keep doing it, and I did everything that I wrote down, and that's great. I want to add that Horatio Sands was in the 90s. That's great because he's funny. He played an orderly.
Nice.
I want to add that in its original theatrical, I'm just quoting IMDb trivia right now. In its original theatrical release, 20th Century Fox offered a full refund to any viewer who didn't enjoy the movie,
Wow.
and 1,500 tickets were returned to the studio.
Wow, that's actually pretty
Wow.
low.
Yeah,
Really?
People liked it.
enjoyed
That's
that much?
true, but also like you could have just said you didn't enjoy it and got your refund.
That's true.
So a lot of people were not acting very smart, I would say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's true. Well, Ryan.
Yep.
I know you're a pretty private guy, but who would?
PP Rabbit.
Where can people find you publicly if they so please?
Very interesting you asked. I actually have up until recently had a private Instagram
Oh.
account, but I've recently moved it to public.
That's fun.
Oh, for heaven's sake, look at that. So look that up. Ryan Maksymic at Ryan Maksymic on Instagram. A lot of great travel photos from the past, but starting to post a few more things that are not that.
No comedy related.
Getting leaning towards that, hoping to make some content. Recently, I'm a software developer by day, so I made an Instagram filter recently called "What Pants Are You?" So you can use that and figure out what kind of pants you are. It's a lot of
genius.
fun.
Pretty
Check
fun.
that out.
Mhm.
Share it with your friends, and listen to my other episodes on this podcast.
I would actually recommend.
Yeah,
I
episode.
believe it's episode 1 and episode 40.
Episode 1 is fine, but
We
Casino
were-
Royale was great.
Episode 1, we were all finding
We were
our
all
footing.
Sometime in the
Fresh.
40s, it's Casino Royale.
Casino Royale.
Featuring our good buddy Zach. Yeah, did you like being on episode, Zach?
Did they really?
Great.
Did they really? Yep,
Oh,
They did.
we
they
love you,
sure
Zach.
did. Yes, I think that's all I got. Great to be here. Excited to come back next time, and
Yeah.
We'll see
And,
what
If
kind
I
of,
have the tolerance, we should bring
Yeah.
you and Zach back.
oh
if we have,
yeah,
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, originally, we might have had a full
Oh, that's
Zach
true.
here, but
Yeah.
he doesn't like to commit.
Oops.
All right, if you want to follow us, Haven't Seen a Podcast on Facebook and Insta, you can do that at Haven't Seen a Podcast, and on Twitter at haven't_seen_it, and on our website, haven'tseenapodcast.com. We also have a YouTube and Twitch page in which you can watch these streams and watch our video episodes, which is now all our episodes from now on. So watch it instead of listen, or listen if you don't have time to throw it up on a phone or a computer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
We are coming back at
Yes.
9 o'clock tonight if you are watching this live with a good friend Todd Donald talking about Bad Santa. So watching it live, check that out at 9 p.m.
the
Eastern.
Late Show,
The
with
Late
Bad
Show.
Santa.
Yeah.
show.
Or stay tuned for 2 weeks from now when that episode will be out. So
Yep.
see you then.
Yep.
You guys remember when Billy Bob Thornton was on Q when Gian Gomeshi was
Yeah, that's a
still
big thing,
hosting Q,
No,
Mhm.
and he was on with his band,
I don't remember.
Yeah.
and then Gian Gomeshi, being the journalist that he is, laying out the context for the guest, was like, of course, Billy Bob Thornton is also a famous actor who's been in many big films, but here he's doing his music. Billy Bob Thornton got so upset that he mentioned his acting that he was just
Oh, yeah.
totally iced out Gian Gomeshi the rest of the interview, being like, I asked you not to talk about that part of my life.
Huh.
It's probably still on YouTube. Look it up.
Yeah.
Dang.
Really
And we all
cringy
thought
stuff.
Billy Bob Thornton
Good.
was the asshole, and now we're like, I think it's Gian Gomeshi.
Right. Yeah. I mean, honestly, really cool not interacting with either of them. I'm good with that.
Sure.
He was in Bad Santa, right? I didn't just say that for no reason.
Yes.
Cool.
Billy Bob
Okay,
Thornton was
good.
in Bad Santa.
Great. I mean, on that note, we will be back. So clock out for about, you got 26 minutes, and see us back for 9 o'clock, babies. And if you're listening, Santa's, write your local Santa a letter and shop at Shoppers Drug Mart. Woo! That was loud.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.